And welcome everyone to another edition of 90.9 WJAB's Yo Just Checking In. I'm your host, Marcus Sims. We are powered by 90.9 FM, WJAB.org, and WJAB-TV. And don't forget to check us out online on YouTube, WJAB-TV. Just give us a nice little like, subscribe, all that good stuff. We are powered once again by 90.9 FM. And this month, if you notice the past few months, we have been putting a spotlight on women within the Tennessee Valley who have been getting the job done, doing some great things within our area. And I'm happy right now to have with us someone who holds a pretty important position here on the campus of Alabama A&M. She is Alabama A&M's General Counsel, Angela Debro. Attorney Debro, how are you doing?
Doing great. How are you today?
I'm doing great. I guess for all practical purposes, you are, throughout this entire interview, Attorney Debro.
Okay, I'll take it. That's what they call me.
Attorney Debro. So thank you so much for joining us here, and happy National Women's History Month to you.
Thank you. Thank you. It's been an amazing month, especially with the hearings for the Honorable Ketanji.
And we're going to talk about that actually.
It's just been an amazing month.
It's been an amazing month, and we're just honoring the women who are just doing some great things in our community, media, and so many other positions. So once again, thank you for joining us this afternoon.
You're welcome.
Now, tell us a little bit about yourself. Of course, I know you're Alabama A&M alum. You're the General Counsel for Alabama A&M. And I know, of course, working up here, your hands are involved in so many different things up here. But tell us a little bit about Attorney Angela Debro.
Well, I'm a native of Mississippi, came here straight from high school and enjoyed my 4 years on the Hill. My mantra to our new students always is, take your time, don't rush, which we know a lot of them do, because this is an amazing place to discover who you are and to become the next, President Obama or, Judge Jackson. I mean, it is just, the foundations we receive here just take us so far. That's why we talk about start here and go anywhere.
So you from Mississippi to the campus of Alabama A&M, and of course you went on after Alabama A&M to pursue a career in the legal field, correct?
Yes, I left here and went to Stanford University, Cumberland School of Law, graduated from there in '94. And started my practice off as a state prosecutor, then a federal prosecutor, and I landed here in 2000.
And from there, you've been AAMU's General Counsel since then, correct?
Yeah, since 2010. I said 2010. Yes.
Awesome. Now, I guess in your field, we know with the past 2.5 or 3 years, a lot has changed, because 2.5, 3 years ago, I knew nothing about Zoom.
Yes.
We weren't Zoom. I would dare to say the majority of us weren't really Zoom, and maybe doing some video conferencing, but not at this high level that we've been doing. How has COVID in your field and your profession changed the way that you do things?
Well, starting out, if you think about it, everywhere shut down March of 2020, even the court system. So individuals that needed court hearings or just some movement by the law, renters, business owners that had default judgments against people needing their money. Everything just shut down in March of 2020. Well, everyone had to figure out how we were going to communicate, how we were going to work together when we couldn't be in person. So even courthouses went to Zoom. Judges were holding Zoom hearings. There had initially been a couple of video hearings for, defendants if they were in lockup. I think the city of Huntsville had started doing video arraignments, but it was still new to the court system. So with Zoom, all trials shut down. No one could get a trial by jury, especially criminal. When people are in criminal cases, you have a right to a trial by jury, and they were not able to have a jury trial of their peers for a number of months. So it really changed the profession. But what we did learn was we learned how to operate without having to be in the same room. It's still necessary, I think, because you can tell by people's body language, the things you need to know, especially in depositions or court hearings. Their body language gives off a different vibe sometimes in what they're saying. So the whole Zoom thing has changed how you perceive individuals as witnesses, how you can talk to lawyers and judges, but it also has made us more efficient, I think, because things that probably would have taken, you needed to go to the courthouse to handle a hearing. Judges are now scheduling either video hearings or phone hearings, conferences, just so that you don't have to take that time out of your day. So I think it did benefit us to a certain degree, but it really kind of stalled us out at the beginning because we were just so used to that personal interaction between the lawyer and the witness, or the lawyer and the judge.
Now with all these changes that have happened the past few years, for you on a personal level with the interactions here on the campus of Alabama A&M, has it changed some of the things that you have to do on I guess you personally here on the campus or anything?
Well, it was very difficult starting out because I was used to students dropping by and seeing the students on the campus. Also having, a lot of in-person meetings and getting to know others on campus. And it was a difficult time and transition of going from, being, I guess you could say, free to speak, free to be around people, to having to only talk to people about video or phone, and not seeing the students walking around on campus, because that is like my favorite thing. My office is where I can hear and see every Sunday, Wednesday. And that is like, I love it. I love to see the kids out. I love to see them enjoying themselves and understanding that you got to have a life outside of, just the books.
Right. Now, Attorney Debro, what is a general counsel for? Tell us your job. What exactly is a general counsel for someone out there who's Attorney Debro? We know that, but what is a general counsel? I guess especially for a college campus.
Take it just like you said, general counsel. So I generally practice law. I take in whatever the university needs legal counsel on. I also advise the president. I sit in cabinet meetings. I work with our administration and leadership team. So I'm not only a lawyer, I'm also a campus administrator. We work through the policies and procedures on campus. We, review upcoming laws like Title IX. When the name, image, and likeness legislation came out from the NCAA, that was something that we really needed to do a deep dive into, especially when, the state of Alabama created a law about it, and now they've repealed part of the law. So I work across campus with all divisions to help them understand what their needs are when it comes to how the law relates to what they're doing.
Now, what inspired you to go into the legal field? Because if I'm correct, when you were here at A&M, your bachelor was in mathematics.
It was in mathematics, right?
So now, how does mathematics lead to an attorney? I mean, that's a very interesting, in my opinion, very interesting turn. So how does the field of mathematics lead to the legal field?
Okay, well, when I got ready to attend A&M, I really did want to go to law school. So in high school, I actually worked for a lawyer part-time. My senior year, I did a cooperative exchange program. So I would go to school in the morning and then I would work for the lawyer in the afternoon. It all started, I have a cousin who was an attorney and I used to really look up to him. But then my sister was going to med school and I was like, well, she's going to need somebody to defend her. So I'm going to be the lawyer. So if she gets into trouble, I can take care of her. Mm-hmm. But none of that part panned out. I ended up going into criminal law and being a prosecutor. But the mathematics piece, I really liked numbers. I liked math. I like logic problems. And law is like a logic problem sometimes because you have to figure out how you get from point A to point B. You have to solve a problem. And that really drove my decision to do mathematics. I started out computer science because I really thought I wanted to be a real STEM girl. I call computer science majors real STEM because, we're talking about punch cards when I was coming along, programming. But when I got here, I loved math so much more because that was my minor. And, it's all about problem solving. And that's what led to my picking a major to go to law school.
Wow. Wow. Great one right there. So now, of course, this is National Women's History Month. And we've been saluting all month long here on 90.9 WJB and WJAB-TV, women who've just been doing great things in our community. So now let me ask you, who are some of the women in your life that have inspired you or played, or maybe whether it's family or otherwise, but who played a role in your career in inspiring you?
Well, of course, my mom, she was a first grade teacher for 33 years. And when I tell you this lady could dress, my mom would go to work every day in a suit, a skirt suit, and she was teaching first graders. I don't think she owned a pair of jeans until she retired, but she was really, one of my inspirations, because I just saw a mother that cared for others, people's children. I mean, she loved those kids, and it just inspired me to want to always give back and be available. I didn't want to be a teacher, but somehow or the other, I landed back here at A&M and being involved in education and actually teaching a couple of classes. And then my other inspiration is my mother-in-law. She went to school and got her doctorate with 4 kids and her husband, and they made it work. She went to Purdue. She had her doctorate. She came back. She was a professor. And just to see everything that she did and how she made it work, just to know that she was able to achieve the dream that she wanted, all while raising a family, that amazes me, because to me, she got it all. She was able to do it all.
Right.
But those 2 women in my life, they pretty much give me my drive and know that I can do anything that I want to do. And then my sister is my favorite. She is my doctor. She is, we are our parents' blessings. I'll say it that way. It's just the 2 of us. And she went to med school and I went to law school, and let my daddy tell her we were the best thing that ever happened, because we were able to achieve those dreams that he wanted us to do. But yeah, those are my 3 for sure. My mom, my mother-in-law, and my sister.
So I guess from what you're saying, obviously, the support system around you, family, now more than ever, has played a huge part in where you are career-wise, correct?
Absolutely. I don't think that I could even achieve or could have achieved any of this without my family. My mother-in-law was there for me during law school. My parents have always been there. And then my sister has always had my back. So yeah, family is real deep for me, and it really helps with my success as well.
Awesome. Now, a lot, obviously the past 2 or 3 years, a lot has changed. We know not only COVID, but it seems as if the issues of social justice have really come to the forefront. We're looking at cases like Ahmaud Arbery, George Floyd, Breonna Taylor, a lot of cases where social media, and now I want to say social media meets social justice, and a lot of young people, older people have been using this platform to fight against injustice that's been happening in our country. What's your take on, especially when you see these cases, these tragic cases, not only nationally, but we've had some happen within the state, some locally. What's your take on the climate, how it's changed, especially the past 2 or 3 years? We've had COVID we've dealt with, and also we've dealt with, all these just crazy, this social injustice cases as well, right?
Yeah, I just think that with COVID, a lot of the issues probably came to light. I think they were always there, an underlying issue. But I think with COVID and social media, it just brought more attention to what probably has been going on for a while. And it just gave it, because that was all we could focus on, it just gave it a stage that we just had to look at and see.
Now, Attorney Debro, why would you encourage us, especially a young person, maybe we have the students that are watching this or listening to this right now, why should they enter the legal field? Why should they decide to go into your profession?
Well, first of all, any female, I'm telling you, come on. The sad part is there are only 2% in this state, in Alabama, 2% of the lawyers in Alabama are of color. Think about that, and then subtract out how many women you think are involved in that. But we can represent for us. When I was a prosecutor, it was very difficult sometimes to look on the other side of the table and see people that look like me. But what I could do in the position I was in was ensure that everyone received equal treatment, that you didn't get treated unfairly due to the color of your skin. So I really, made a very big push for that on my side to make sure that everyone that I prosecuted received, the same treatment across the board. Whether you were rich, whether you were poor, whether you were Black, whether you were white. I just really tried to make sure my sentences or my recommendations were all in line with what fit the punishment for the crime. But what I did see during that 15 years was that the issue in a lot of cases dealt with education or lack thereof. So when the opportunity came for me to come back to A&M, I saw it as an opportunity to help, to assist, to provide some insight to that part of the justice system and try to explain to people that, a lot of the things that happen because we don't have access to certain things, or you don't have access to education, or you're trying to get access. So that was a real turning point for me to be here and to be allowed to provide that input and to share those sentiments, and also to help those that come to me or come by my office and, are interested in law school. I, try to help them figure out where they need to go, or, give them advice on what to look for or what to do. It's a very sometimes difficult profession to break into, but if you're, as people say, able to pass a standardized test and get your applications in and you have good grades, you're able to get in and you can do amazing things. I mean, just because you have a law degree doesn't mean you have to practice law. You can be a CEO of a company. You can create your own company. You can even, be an NFL agent. There are just so many options with a law degree that you don't have to just practice law.
And you kind of touched on this actually just a few moments ago. What are some misconceptions maybe people have about your job? Like, I can imagine if you're out for dinner, you're out someplace, people want to ask you legal advice all the time. I'm sure that happens on a daily, or you're out someplace and someone has a question. Oh, I slipped on a piece of ice. What do I do legally and all that or something? But is there any misconceptions that people have about your profession?
Yeah, we know everything. That's one of the things, that we know it all. But a lot of times lawyers do specialize. Like if somebody were to ask me about a slip and fall, I said, wait, let me give you somebody's numbers that you can call. Even down to, wills, advanced directives. Those are things that are very important, but every lawyer doesn't know how to do them necessarily. And lawyers just specialize in an area that's more comfortable for them. Like I said, before I came, I was a prosecutor. So my area of specialty prior to being here at A&M was criminal law. But once I got to A&M, I kind of had to become a generalist and understand, all of the law. But it's really it's a lot of reading, a lot of interpretation, but most of us will tell you, let's find somebody that specifically works in that area and you will be able to find out what you need to know. But yeah, we have to kind of put the kibosh on it sometimes and say, we don't know. I can't answer that for you. Let's find somebody else.
I can only imagine. What, explain for those listening or viewing this right now, why HBCU experience is important. Of course, you attended Alabama A&M, graduated from Alabama A&M, but why was the HBCU experience important for you, and why is it important overall for students?
Okay. For me, it was a family tradition. My mom graduated from A&M, my sister graduated from A&M, and I think sum total, all of our family, we are about 25, 26 members of my family have graduated from A&M. So for me, it was about tradition. It was about family. Growing up in the Mississippi Delta, that area is 75% African American. So to say that I was coming here to experience something different was not necessarily the case. But what I was coming here to do was to be comfortable in understanding who I was and growing into the person that I needed to be. That is the one thing my HBCU did for me. It gave me enough support and gave me the courage to be me and to understand who I am in the skin that I'm in. And I think that that's what's important when we look at our HBCUs. It gives our students an opportunity to understand who they are, to be in a space where they can learn about who they are and not feel that they have to keep their guard up all the time. But that's what I love about HBCUs, is that you come here, you grow, you learn to be who you are meant to be. And it's just to me, I look at it as a safe space, you know, and to be you. And that's how I think of it, and why I say you should have that HBCU experience. And everybody has a different experience. You know, some people don't have that same experience, and others can get it in other places, and that's fine. But I think about when you're leaving high school, you need to find a space that allows you to grow and allows you to, you know, because you morph during that time period before you really become an adult. And for me, that was what my HBCU did for me. That's what A&M did for me, allowed me to morph into the person that I needed to be.
And of course, one of the things we talked about, Attorney Debro, before we started recording was, of course, what's going on across the nation right now with the confirmation and hearings of Judge Ketanji Brown Jackson. Can you talk to us a little bit about your feelings about what is pending to be a very historic event that's going to happen? Talk to us a little bit about that.
Oh, wow. It makes me proud just to see her sitting there and to know. I mean, when you think about what individuals have to do to achieve such high, lofty positions, I mean, I don't think she woke up one day and said, you know, this is going to be me. But to know that your body of work and what you do as an individual allows you the opportunity to be in those spaces, that is amazing. And to see someone that looks like me sitting in that chair, knowing that she could sit on the Supreme Court bench one day, it makes me tear up. I mean, I won't lie, it really does. Especially knowing when you're studying law and when you're reading the cases, to know that somebody that potentially had the same experiences as you and lived through some of the things that you could have lived through could be there listening to these cases and give a different perspective. That's a really powerful moment, you know, just to know, because I think that that's a lot of, you know, what we kind of go through now is we all have different experiences, and those experiences shape the way that we think and the way that we do things. And I think to have her sitting on the Supreme Court, just to give that perspective, is just, I mean, it's a little overwhelming really to think about it.
And I think what's so interesting, of course, is we see the questions and the comments that are coming during these hearings. And it's amazing. I just think it's amazing, the poise, and I'll be honest, the calm that's going on, because I'm watching this sometimes. I'm like, I don't know if that was my auntie, my mom, or cousin. I might be in the back row saying something, but I just think it's so amazing how she's handled herself during this. And I think she's a great selection.
Yes. I mean, one thing about lawyers, and this is across the board, we have to learn to control our emotions, and we have to understand that when you're on that hot spot, you can't get emotional. You can't, you know, really show your hand, because if you're in a courtroom with a judge and a jury, that could affect your case. So as I watched her, I mean, I could feel some of what she was going through, because it's like, you just have to smile. You have to, you know, just take it in and figure out what's going to come out of your mouth, and be very controlled and tempered with it. You know, she did an amazing job. I don't even know if I could have done as well as she did. She did a great job of, like you said, keeping herself in control and understanding what was it, you know, what's on the line and what's at stake.
True. Attorney Debro, as we're wrapping everything up here on 90.9 WJB's Yo Just Checking In, we want to thank you for giving us a few moments of your time. So I always joke and say, I see you on the past few years on the Zoom faculty staff conferences. So that's where I see you the most. So it's great to actually talk to you one-on-one, because like I said, just seeing you on the faculty staff is great, but pick your brain a little bit and find out more about you. I think everyone up here would really like that. So any closing comments you would have, especially for our students up here on the campus of Alabama A&M?
Absolutely. I just want to say, you know, think just being here, just when you come to A&M, that is the first step. But enjoy your time, go to class, and understand, as they say, understand the assignment, which is to graduate. Because the best day on the Hill is commencement day. To see those students walking across in their regalia, that is the best day on the Hill for me. I love it. So yeah, so as I said, get here, enjoy yourself, take care of your classwork, and understand the assignment, which is to graduate. I mean, that is the best thing ever.
True. We are powered by 90.9 WJAB, WJAB.org, and WJAB-TV. I've been happy to have as my special guest, National Women's History Month, Attorney Angela Debro from Alabama A&M University. Attorney Debro, thank you so much for giving us a few moments of your time this afternoon.
You're welcome, and thank you so much.
Thank you.